What is up, you guys? Welcome to the very first episode of He Loves Me Not, which is a dating and love podcast hosted by me, Nigel Battle. So excited to get started with this. It's been an idea I've had for a very long time. And yes, as you can see, I am now one of the small mic talking world, and I'm very excited about that. This has been a long time coming, and I'm very excited about this project because I've thought a lot about the pivots of my own content creation, and I love making videos, I love entertaining, but with the recent introduction to my heart on For the Love of DILFs, the reality show I just wrapped last year, a lot of people are interested in that. And to be quite frank, I'm interested in it too. Love has always been something that has fueled my dreams and has pushed me to become the best version that I could ever be, whether it be the love from my mother, the loss of my mother's love, and the gaining and loss of the people that I've dated and had relationships with. So many forms of love have altered or changed my life in immense ways. So when I think about going forward with content creation in 2025, I want to dive into my heart more. So I thank everyone who DM'd me after watching For the Love of Dilfs and kind of gave me that idea by saying like, why did you cry over certain things, or why did you feel the way you felt in the time that you felt while filming the show? And there is a reason, I believe, for all of that, because I know myself, and I think that helped me be on the show as well as win it, and as well as kind of accept the comments and the scrutiny that came with it, because I was so okay with it all because I knew myself. So while everyone else is erupting and freaking out over me freaking out, I know why I'm freaking out. And the reason for that is because of how I'm built and what I've been through. So the reason of this podcast is to dive into that. I think that as it goes forward, like once we cover some of my relationship stories and antidotes, like we can hit some of my more current dates I would love to talk about and dissect with you guys, as well as take questions and give advice to you guys on love and dating based off of what I have been through. So I think we have a lot of fun cut out for us. If you want to check out in the description box of wherever you're listening or viewing this, I will have contact information if you want to send a message or text me questions if you need advice on what you're going through. And then in the next episode and at the end of future episodes, I will answer a few select um, love and dating advice questions for you guys. But thank you for being here. I think this is going to be a fun journey. We're going to start right at the beginning because a lot of everything is very connected. One love, my first love, led right to the second, and the second right led to the third, and then I led right to the show. So it was very one thing after another, and everything always inspired each other and was very tightly connected. And there's themes, and there's like really like puzzled moments. There's things connect that if you really pay attention, you'll see like I knew all along and stuff like that. So, are you ready for the story of my first love and swiping my V card at the Jersey Shore like an Amex credit card? Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? Okay. So, say, I want to first say that growing up, my life and everything I've always done has always been so full of love. And I've always been so excited to be in love. And I've always been so excited to show someone how much love I have. And that took so long, but I longed for it for a long period of time because I came out when I was 12 years old. So when I came out, God bless my mom. She was so amazing. Like I was for Christmas and for my birthdays and stuff, I was given like gay content. Like I got gay books and gay movies, and she really like fed into the idea that her son was gay, and it was the most beautiful thing because I knew then, and most certainly I know now, especially being older, that that was so rare to have a parent kind of like not only accept but like a lot like I was fueled with media that showed me that love exists, even being gay. However, the media was not what it was today. It was not like Heartstopper. It was not like cutesy and datey. It was always DLE. It was always like behind the scenes. However, there were still some beautiful romantic stories that I saw, but there not being a lot of true LGBT love connection and stories to be immersed in led me to kind of siding with like a lot of my girlfriends that I had, my friends that were girls that were dating guys too. I kind of fell into like original um teenage kind of like love traditional circumstances. Like I treated my relationships the way I saw my friends treat their relationships with their boyfriends, type of thing. And I longed for the things that they longed for because that's all I knew. Because also being out and gay at 12 years old, I didn't have like a whole bunch of out and gay people to ask questions and talk about and all that stuff with. So it's very like it was like a new experience for me, you know? So all I had was what was around me. So I longed for what I saw. And along with what was around me, and also more so in mainstream media, something that always like sat with me well. Like I always loved the idea of like having that great senior boyfriend and having him take you to prom weekend and deflower you after prom night on a Friday night at the Jersey Shore because everyone always stayed at the Jersey Shore after prom. So of course it would happen there. So that I saw the theme of that happening in so many movies. So, and this is where it gets interesting because this is the first theme of I always like I don't ever just run into something for like a relationship. Like it's always pre-planned. It's always something I'm looking for. Like I specifically at that time wanted like a a senior football playing jock like lover, and I wanted him to be my first, and I needed it to be on prom night, and that was my goal, you know. So keep that in mind. Life went on, and I enjoyed middle and high school kind of like holding on to not swiping my V card because of those goals. And I remember as I got older, and started like, hitting neighborhood and stuff like that. I think it was like 17 to enter, stuff like that. And like we would like go over the bridge. Um, it became very interesting because I began meeting other gay people and they were full on doing everything. And here I was not doing anything because I traditionally wanted to wait until prom night and have it be with this particular guy. So I went all through high school kind of like not doing with what my other gay friends were doing as I began to make gay friends and I realized how weird that was. But I held out. I held out. So I want to get into the story of the prom weekend and fast forward to that. But I do want to just say that in the middle of all that, there was this moment, and I want to just put this in there because this connects so well. But it's so interesting because I think, a freshman. There was like a choir, like a more like elite choir that you had to audition, and it was a collective choir. Like I was from New Jersey, a collective choir like all of New Jersey. So it was like a New Jersey like exclusive choir of they take like the best of the singers from each school and then they all make a choir and it was called like All South Jersey. So I did that my freshman year of high school and I'll never forget I was leaving this because it was at a different like building on Saturdays in the morning, a different school, and I was leaving the practice for that, and I saw a bus from another school because remember all the different schools are coming to meet up and rehearse together, and I saw the bus from another school coming, and I saw this sexy jock, and He was beautiful, and I knew because, we all have this gaydar. I knew he was gay, and I instantly had a crush on him, and I remember thinking, like, that was I was a freshman, so that was part of me holding on to not doing anything with any guys all of my high school career because, well, not I did some things. I would how do I say? I was a wrist lover, if you know what I mean. I was really good at that. So it's this whole thing because also as we carry forward and we get into more of the future, it's very interesting because I thought because I was like a little bit more feminine and more into more girly things, I thought like, okay, like you're absolutely a bottom. This is what bottoms do. This is what they look like. Cool, go be a bottom. Not the case at all. Luckily, as I grew up, I realized I am a top and that's what I enjoy. That's what gets me excited. That's what gets me off, all of that. But what's interesting about my life and like me getting into the swiping in a V card and all that is I thought it had to go a certain way. I thought I had to do certain things based off of who I was and what I saw in the media. So it all was just like messy. So back to the buses. When I saw him on the bus, walking to the bus, I instantly like fell in lust and I was like, okay, like at that moment, I remember thinking like, if there are guys like that who exist, I'm waiting. Like I'll give a little wrist action here and there, but I am not letting anyone else have me, but someone like this was like the idea. So that was my freshman year. So I went all of high school kind of just like avoiding sex. So finally, I get to the end of my high school career and I get to my prom weekend and nothing's planned, and it's funny because I, like, felt so sexy and confident on prom night because, again, that media driven, like, "Oh, like, I'm gonna be that bitch on prom night," like, that's just what it's gonna be, like, I always knew that, and I definitely was, and I felt sexy and tan, and it was just, like, so much fun, and even not having a plan to meet up with a guy, not having a plan to swipe my view card, I felt confident that it could potentially happen. um, so prom happens. It's a beautiful moment. Mind you, there's no one in my school really that I'm interested with. So I knew that it wouldn't be someone like, in my school that I would be going to the prom house with. It would have to be someone from another school or someone who was visiting the Jersey Shore at the time while everyone was there staying for prom weekend. So we unpack all of our stuff at the prom house. We go for a walk on the boardwalk. My group of friends is walking this way. Another group of friends is walking the opposite way on the boardwalk. In that group of friends, don't you know, was that jock guy from my freshman year of that choir rehearsal that I saw on the bus, on the other bus. I was looking out the window and I saw him get on his bus to go to his school, and I was on my bus. And I was just dreaming about him. It was him. So it was him, and it was so funny because his girlfriend, I again, like people just knew people were gay back then, and it was they saw me and I saw him, or his friend saw me and my friend saw him, and his girlfriend was like, "Hey, like he thinks you're cute," and my friend was like, "Oh, he thinks you're cute too," and I didn't even see him, and so I turn around and it's him, and I'm gagged. So I immediately knew because of like he was like muscular and sexy and beautiful and a senior. I was like, okay, like I am not going to tell him that I had this crush on him since freshman year. And to make matters even worse, me being the less schoolgirl that I was, like, of course, I think I ended up finding him on MySpace at that time and was able to like cyber stalk him from all of freshman year up until senior year. So it was like really meeting like my dream lover in person, straight like in front of me. It was very exciting. So I didn't tell him that I saw him that freshman year. In fact, he never found out that I knew him and saw him out the window of my bus that freshman year and had the crush that long because when he met me, I was like beautiful and tan and older. Like I was all the things different than I was when I was a freshman. So I was like, I'm not gonna tell him that I had this crush all these years. I'm gonna like play it cool and like he's into me, so I'm gonna like play it cute. So he starts to walk with me and I was like, "Oh, okay, like yeah, you can walk with me." So we're walking and he's telling me about himself, about all the sports he plays, and it's just so interesting because like I specifically have mapped out like who I thought this guy would look like my whole life. Like who will I be with my first time? And he was just checking off all the boxes. Like he played all the sports that I wanted that lover to play. He had the look, he had the voice, he had the everything. It was just so much fun. Like I'll never forget walking with him on the boardwalk and listening to him just check off all the boxes in my brain. And I'm just like, it's so happening tonight. Like I don't even like I have to find a way. And luckily I think that his brain was thinking the same thing, being the young gays that we were. That's just how it was. Um so he goes like, "Oh, do you want to come back to my prom house?" And I was like, "Yeah." So I leave my friends and I go with him and his friends back to his prom house. But I bring my one friend with me, 'cause, like, security. So my one friend comes with me. I had one gay friend, luckily, at that time, and he came with me because, safety reasons. I don't know what's going on. My one friend was already active, and I was like, I'm scared. Like, please come with me. Da da da. So I knew that because I had met a lot of people and expressed a lot of beauty in those years of my life, but I had denied so many people. So I knew what it was like for someone to come on to me and want to be with me. So I knew that that's where this was going. So once I knew that, and he asked me to go back to his prom house with his friends, I grabbed my friend and we went back. So we are on the balcony of his prom house, and he gets us like a couple of drinks, me and my friend, and we're like drinking, having a good time. And I kid you not, I popped open my drink, I think, and then like I had like a sip, and then after that sip, he grabs my hand and he takes me upstairs to like this bunk bedroom, which a lot of the prom houses had a lot of like bunk bedrooms because we are always trying to fit like a lot of people in one house. So he takes me to this bunk bedroom and he like lays me down on this bottom bunk. And like I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is happening, this is so cool. Like, and I remember like walking back and feeling like excited, like that feeling. I still get that feeling to this day, like when I'm about to do something like freaky and fun. Like I get very excited, you get like adrenaline, it's like a rush, it's so exciting. It's so funny because I had that then, and it's just so interesting because that was the first time I had that. Like that's a feeling and a rush you get the rest of your life for every interaction that's like that. And I will never forget having that for the first time. But at the same time, not knowing what to expect. Like it was an excitement and an adrenaline rush for an experience that I had never had before. So I lay down, and of course, like I told you guys earlier, I always thought that like when you have sex that like you're a bottom. Like I didn't realize that there were two sides. I didn't realize you could be verse. I was just like, oh, like when you have sex, like you take it and that's that. So I did exactly that, and I was like ready to go because I felt like I had like somewhat practiced and I made sure that like this was gonna be perfect. And at one point it was, but I'll never forget also, it was perfect and everything was happening like so very smoothly and romantically. And then at that time, my pink razor was on the floor and I had She Got a Dunk as my ringtone. And literally in the middle of our beautiful, intimate experience, I got a text and my text tone, my text ringtone was She Got a Dunk by Soldier Boy. So my friends were texting me from the prom house, and She Got a Dunk was playing, and my phone was on the floor, and I was doing my thing on the bottom bunk. So the She Got a Dunk was playing almost the whole time. So I kept the rhythm, I kept a good bounce going. I felt very secure and proud of my performance. Um, So everything finishes up, and I'm feeling excited and proud. And I head out to see my friend. And for some reason, he's like more in a rush. I don't know if he had somewhere to be, but like after he was done, he was like rushing around. And I don't know. I think he actually did have to be like at another party or something. But for one reason or another moment I always remember and I'll never forget is I did not put my underwear back on. I put on like my jeans and I carried my underwear out with me. And again, like most people would probably think like, oh, like you carried your underwear out, or like even the people who saw me, like, oh, why is he carrying his underwear out? I don't care. Let me tell you something. I felt so sexy. Like I remember like the denim hanging off of my hips and my juicy ass like poking out without my underwear. Like I felt cute. I'm holding my underwear like I remember. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. That's why honestly, I love telling this story, and that's exactly why I wanted to tell this story for this show because things always come to me and it's so funny. In his jock way, don't, don't you know, after he relieved himself, he grabbed my underwear and wiped from here to here. And I was like, bro, like, those are mine. Like, he didn't know. And he was like, oh, like, I'm so sorry. And like, so that's why I took them. And then it was like, okay, I'm going to just have to go home and carry them. So I had them in my hand. I'm heading out. I grab my friend. He's off to go to the next party. And of course, I'm like, oh, like, grab my number because you just took my virginity. So, of course, like, you're gonna be in my life forever. This was part of the plan. Like, and this will evolve into something special. And yeah, it's gonna be amazing. Or so I thought, right? So, we exchange numbers and he goes to the next party. And then that's Friday night. That's prom night, right? So, Saturday, I'm like, come over, we're having a party, like this time come to our place. So Saturday night he comes over to our place. And at this time I had a gay friend from my school that I was really, really close with. And I also had another gay friend who lived at the Jersey Shore that I knew from MySpace, right? So so we invited that friend from from MySpace that we knew who lived by the shore to our prom house because me and my friend knew that they were close and we wanted like more gay people because we were staying with a bunch of straight people in the prom house, and prom's like very straight. Like a lot of things in life are just like very straight, and you always want to have as many like LGBT people around you, or at least I do, and that's how I've always operated. So me and my gay friend, we invite the other gay friend who lives at the Jersey Shore. We invite him to our party Saturday night, right? So my jock guy comes over and all of us are there, my friends, my two gay friends, my gay friend from school, the gay friend from the shore, the jock boy, a bunch of people, right? We're playing a game, like a drinking game, and I'm in the middle, and my jock boy that just lost my virginity to is sitting on my right. The guy who is from the Jersey Shore, who's gay, that we met on MySpace and invited to the party to hang out with, just friends, was sitting on my left. They begin to link arms behind me and hold hands, right? So it was very interesting because that was the first moment of like pain that I felt from like liking someone. And I think the way it happened so close to Friday night was the beginning of a lot of things in my journey of love and mental distress. That is so close to literally lose your virginity Friday night to somebody and then have them link with someone right behind you the next day is crazy. And yeah, we were young. I get it. Yeah, maybe in his mind or anyone listening to this story, he was just getting his and just would keep it going. But remember, I specifically planned out this moment and this person for so long that I was not ready for the experience to be like anything different than what I expected it to be. And doing that on Friday night with him and then having him come over to my place the next night and having him literally try to hook up with my friend, the next night, like, bro, like, that is really close in proximity, and it tore me to pieces, and unfortunately, it got worse. They literally connected behind me, and then when it came to the end of that Saturday night, he took him, and they went home together, and I didn't want them to leave. I caused a whole mess in my prom house. One of the guys who was dating one of my girlfriends was there, and he got into like an altercation with the jock boy because I was like fighting with him, and then they were splitting us up, and then they started fighting, and it resulted in him kind of like storming out. When he stormed out, he took the Jersey Shore gay boyfriend that we invited to the party. Um, so I was destroyed. I didn't do anything that night. I remember just being so upset, and really feeling like pain for the first time. Um, and it was just so interesting because, again, you'll feel that so many times in your life, but it's true what they say, like, you'll never forget the first. Like, it was so dark. I'll never forget just so feeling so like not alive. Like, I remember driving home, like being driven home from the prom weekend and just crying, and like people were checking on me constantly. I could not understand or accept what happened so fast. Like, I thought this person would be in my life forever. I thought I like found what I've been looking for, all from like that one night. And not for nothing, like, I I wish everyone could hear the things that like he said Friday night. And it was a lot of like mind games and a lot of stuff just to like get me, you know. But I was so upset. That Monday morning, I'll never forget this either. I thought I'd be good by Monday. I've never been through this before. I thought I'd be good by Monday. Absolutely not. I'll never forget. There was this one moment I like broke down, and like it was so Degrassi. Like, I broke down. I like slammed my books on the ground, hit my locker, and like my one of my friends grabbed me and took me out of the hallway because I like broke down in the hallway in front of my locker. Um, and I just couldn't. I could not deal. And I remember that week was so hard. Every single day was so, so difficult. And I was just like wanting it to be over. And then finally, the weekend came, and my friends like, we're young, we're beautiful, like, you just lost your V card, like, let's go out to the city and find guys and be sexy and cute. So we go out to Neighborhood, Philadelphia. We go up to the stairs of the one club that we can get into at the age that we're at, and we walk up to the main dance floor. And don't you know, the jock boy is dancing on the dance floor in between two other guys. So it was like I could not escape this pain. And he saw me and came over. And then we were talking. And actually, I don't even remember a lot about that night, but I do know that that night it reconnected us, because I found out that he like lived like somewhat close, and he was in the area. Da da da. 'Cause when I saw him at the Jersey Shore, I wasn't sure like if his school was more closer down the shore or if it was closer to me, or So I found out that night that he was closer to me, and we started hanging out, and he did eventually become like a more long term lover, and it was nice because at that time when I was with him for my first time, like I said, like I had only bottomed, and then as time went on with him, because I wanted my first to be like everything with the same person. I was so like serious about it. So he ended up being the first person that I topped too. So it was a beautiful experience where like I got to try both with him, and then through that I learned what I like. Um, and that relationship was so wonderful. There were so many ups and downs. I really got to know him for who he was. Um, but it was messy. It was so, so messy. And he had so many like dark secrets. He had so much going on that I didn't understand. And now that I'm older, like I do understand. I don't understand how anyone could um be a part of that and survive, basically. Like, he just lived a very like dangerous life, and I'm very grateful that um I made it out. He eventually married off to somebody else, so I made it out clear and free. But it was a journey that I'll never forget. But what's so interesting about that is we fooled around for a couple of years and dated for a couple of years, and he really just like taught me everything that I wanted to know about myself. In and out of the bedroom, and it was great. And then what's really great is that the end of that, once he officially like chose somebody else and like married off, and that was a really obviously a hard moment for me, but that moment led me to the rest of my content creation and my drag career, which led into drag and theater and YouTube and eventually reality TV. So it's all connected, and I feel so grateful. And I feel a little bad because in those years of us being together, there's so much story, there's so much personality things I could say about him and moments that happened between us two. I guess we'll let this episode kind of be more like the story of losing the V card, and then maybe I can do another kind of dissecting the actual relationship we had after me running into him in the city after the prom weekend. If that's something you guys are interested in, let me know in the comments or DM me and let me know. I'm having fun already revealing so much about myself. So if you guys want to know more, of course, I will never be giving names. This will all be like story based. I'm not here to like blow anyone's stuff up or like reveal anyone or make anyone uncomfortable. This is solely for like to tell my story and dissect it and share it and have people learn from it and be impacted. Let me know if that's something you want to know more details about of those years that I spent with him, of him being kind of like my first situationship, lover, boyfriend. It was very beautiful, very long. But I'll cut to the end of it and I'll let you guys know that everything just led to one another. And when everything finally ended and he chose to be with somebody else, I crafted a 10-minute drag mix, and I took that 10-minute drag mix and I had my drag competition premiere. And what that means is I had already been doing like pop-up performances kind of in drag, but I entered my first competition with a 10-minute mix that I made off of the pain that I felt from the breakup, and I won that competition, and I kind of built a life for myself as a drag queen in Philadelphia. And it was really cool. It was really amazing. One of the greatest experience of my life. And I won competitions. I produced music in drag. I've done music videos. I've done so many fun things in drag. And that led to everything else I've done creatively. And these will all be different episodes and different moments because there's so much I want to get into with you guys. But just to wrap it up in a nutshell, the drag led to the YouTube, and the YouTube led to the reality TV. And when it comes to confidence and doing all those things, everything truly is connected because when I was doing drag, I thought that that was beauty. And I thought that that's the only way I could be pretty because of the breakup and the switch and the pain that I went through from my first jock lover, I did not feel like confident and beautiful as myself because it's almost like he kind of like destroyed who I was as Nigel. So in drag as Jasmine, I began dating. So the relationships that I have after this one, which will be in the next episode, those relationships I had as Jasmine. So it's very interesting, a lot of story there, but it's a good segue. And I love Jasmine because she led me to being full version of Bear Nigel, which where we're at now. And it's just so interesting because it's opposite spectrum, but in so many ways, she taught me to love myself, and she was created out of the pain that he inflicted upon me. So it's all connected, it's all very beautiful. And that's why I always say love. Um, fuels your dreams, and it's stamped on my forehead forever, and it's so a part of all of the decisions that I make and everything that I want to become and do. And I wish it wasn't that way. I wish I could be more grounded and more into what I think as an individual and what I want to do as an individual. But I really, really do truly always long for love. But at the same time, there's so much else you need as a human being. But for me, I don't know why love comes at the forefront. And that's why I'm doing this. That's why I want to talk about love and dating. I want to dissect my relationships and hear comments about it. And also because that's where I'm at right now. And it's so interesting because when I first started being a content creator in 2020, I started like just creating entertainment purpose. I've always been an entertainer. I've always loved being on stage. So when I started YouTube and creating content, that was the idea. It was like I'll just keep on entertaining, keep on making people laugh, having a good time. But with all the interest and dating and the interest of my reactions on For the Love of Dilfs, people are interested in this now. So it's now like it's not just me like exposing myself. It's more like me like explaining myself, which feels really good because I remember reading a lot of like the comments and DMs after certain like blow ups on the reality show and people being like, "Oh, why did you do this? Why did you do that?" And I remember thinking like, "Oh, like if I could just sit them down and tell them about the time I lost my virginity, like that would be so amazing. Like if I could just sit them down and tell them about one of my abusive relationships, like that would be so amazing. So now this gives me like a place and somewhere to kind of vent all those feelings, tell all those stories that led me to a lot of the decisions that I'll make now and forever. Um, and it's really beautiful and I'm so excited to do it. And also just podcasting in general and speaking and creating content in general, it's just so wonderful. And I want people to remember to do it for you. Like this video, this moment, this episode, it could get one view. And if that one person feels impacted and feels inspired and feels entertained, anything, my job's done. Because me sitting here telling this story, remembering everything that I went through and how far I've come and how strong I grew myself after being that hurt, um, is inspiring to me. And so now I'm ready to move on and do the next thing because I just sat here and explained it to you and it feels good for me. So that's my little side advice for any creators out there who are interested in either podcasting or just revealing information for content purposes in general. Do it for you and make sure it feels good to speak it. Make sure it feels good to explain it. Because that's number one. And if you can do that first, then everything will kind of fall in line after. Like, remember that. All right, guys. Let me know what you guys want to see when it comes to this new show we have here. I'm so excited. He Loves Me Not is going to be a lot of fun. I'm putting no pressure on myself. I'm allowing myself to date and reminisce and release episodes, and people can come on, they can not come on, they can comment, they can watch, they can not watch. Like I said, this is more for me. I want to document and dissect and share these stories because I'm getting older, and what if one day I forget them? It's going to be really nice to look back and remember what I've been through and how strong it's made me. And it makes me feel so proud. So hopefully you guys feel some juicy, cute impact from this and learn something. Let me know how you feel about the show so far. I love you all for watching or listening. Have a beautiful day. Like, comment, subscribe, share, all those things. And I will see you in the next video. Bye, guys.